This episode of Sideline Warning is brought to you by Roosport, makers of the original magnetic running pouch. Whether you're biking, running, hiking, or even traveling, the Roosport clips to your waistband with magnets for an easy, convenient way to carry what you need without the bulk of belts or bags. Visit theroosport.com and use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase, for 30% off their entire product line. Again, that's theroosport.com, promo code SIDELINE30. And now on with the show.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Sideline Warning, the show where sports takes are sure to go way too far into the field. Here to recap this week's biggest and best sports stories are your hosts, Dave Adams, Ben Foster, and Adam Russell.
And welcome everybody into Sideline Warning for another wonderful week of sports talk. As always, you've got your wonderful host, the golden voice of the Southeast, the one, the only Dave Adams, coming to you live and in living color from Harvest, Alabama, the very top of the state of Alabama. As always, because you know Alabama's on the top, and I'm always on top of Alabama. But normally, I would bring in Hollywood Ben Foster right now, but he had some scheduling conflicts going on this week, so we're doing this show without Hollywood, but I will bring in the man all the way down from the House of Mouse, from Lady Lake, from Lake Butler, from Lake Mary, Leesburg, Lockhart, Maitland, Meadow Woods, Mount Dora, St. Cloud, the phenomenal brother, Adam Russell.
I thought that was going to be a lake-themed list, and then I thought it was going to be an alliteration of L's, but sometime you're going to have to find something that's all the same letter. That would be awesome.
You know, there's only 6 lake suburbs of Orlando, and I normally do 10. Actually, I normally do 8 because I do House of Mouse and St. Cloud every week.
Got it. So you planned this out. I'm impressed.
I do.
Wow, you put a lot of thought into your show prep.
I have a system, man.
Wow.
I understand that you think I don't do a lot of show prep, but I do show prep. I mean, I understand that there are those that doubt the golden voice.
Hey.
But
I'm not one of them. You're not only on top of Alabama, you're on top of the podcast game, Dave Adams.
I understand that. Hey, I'm proud.
Absolutely wonderful.
Thank you for using the name I go by and not my Christian name for once.
I'm trying to do better about that.
Well, I'll tell you what, one thing that I'm trying to do better on this podcast is I have been very down on the Alabama basketball team for pretty much as long as this podcast has gone on. But because Brian from up north, I can't say he's from Cincinnati because he's actually from Alabama, but Brian, whom lives in Cincinnati, called me out and said I'm very negative towards Alabama basketball. I'm trying to be more positive towards this Alabama basketball team. And Saturday, Alabama actually played a good game against the now number 1 team, Tennessee. And I'll be honest with you, Adam. I did something that I thought I would never do.
What's that?
I actually gave Avery Johnson a lot of credit on Twitter, a lot of credit in our discourse between each other in text messages. Avery Johnson did an incredible coaching job up in Knoxville.
I'm sure he appreciated that.
Oh, I'm sure he did. But
what changed your mind? Let's dive into that a little bit.
We'll dive into that. Alabama looked flat in the first half. Tennessee basically ran all over Alabama. Alabama couldn't shoot. Alabama couldn't stop Tennessee. But what I saw in the second half was a good defensive game plan. And actually the team running and getting the ball to the open man. John Petty was, dare I borrow a term from Stuart Scott, rest his soul, in fuego. And he was actually home Petty in Thompson's Bowling Arena up there in Knoxville.
Yeah, he was half the offense, basically.
He was more than half the offense. So what I normally don't see in Avery Johnson coached teams, I saw on Saturday. I saw a very good game plan in the second half and a lot of changes. But what The problem I have with this Alabama basketball team on Saturday was the players. I am all in to support the kids that go to the University of Alabama. But when you are beating the number 3, could be the number 2 team or number 1 team in the country at their court, shooting sub 50% from the free throw line is unacceptable.
Yeah.
There was a point, and I think I said this in our text, where Alabama's 3-point percentage was better than the free throw percentage.
And it wasn't that different in the final tally either.
The final tally, Alabama actually made 44.4% from free throw line, hitting 8 of 18 from free throw. Yeah. And our best free throw shooter was Dante Hall, who a center is supposed to be your worst free throw shooter.
Yeah.
Alabama's... Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say I was thinking if they were going to start bringing out Shaq with the Taco Bell, wasn't it?
Yeah.
With the head to the side. I mean, try anything you can, because really the real shame of the free throw shooting is that you only had to make 4 more of those. So you're talking then, 4 more of those and you win the game. All else equal, right?
Right.
So, you're talking then being 12 of 18. That's only a 66%. That's 2 out of every 3. You'd expect that at the bottom end of like a bad day.
Right.
Maybe a mediocre day. It wouldn't have taken much for Alabama to win that game. And that's the real shame of it, is that it'll go down as a loss. Yeah, it was close, and I think that'll be reflected in the long term if we can continue to hold our own. But man, just at the line, and I actually really liked the conversation that we kind of got into, Dave, of our basketball team did everything right, but they couldn't hit the easiest play in all of sports.
Right.
We got into a conversation, right? What other sports are there that have a give me opportunity to score 1 point? You have basketball, where we can't hit free throws, and you have football, to use a football reference, Ben, if you're listening, and you have football where we can't make extra points. What is it about Alabama athletics where the 2 gimme plays in all of sports?
Right.
We can't make those.
Right.
And it never came down to that meaning anything to us in the end for winning a football game, thank goodness. But it cost us this basketball game.
Easily.
For all intents and purposes.
Now, it's not for all intents and purposes. Let's look at everything else. Alabama had more turnovers, fine. But John Petty was shooting lights out. Alabama had basically stopped their entire team. Field goal percentage, Tennessee had a little bit of an edge. Rebounding, Alabama had the edge.
Yep.
And I just 3-point percentage, Alabama had the edge.
Yeah, but we made almost as many 3-pointers as they took in total.
Right.
Every line stat says we should have had control of that ball game.
And we did have control of that ball game.
Yeah, except that one.
Right. And that's the one glaring stat. I made the point, even when we were up by 15 points, I made the point to say, if you cannot shoot, I think I said in the text, free throws are going to be our downfall. We will lose this game.
Yeah.
To which Ben
you did
blasted me. But I'm sorry. Free throws were our downfall in that game. And it was we had no business being in that game if our players shoot subpar from 50% from the free throw line. Even Westminster Wildcats here in Huntsville, my old high school, even a high school team, if you shoot less than 60% from free throw, your coach yells at you. That's something that these AAU teams should ingrain in these young kids coming up to play college. That's something that they don't really practice in college. That's something that really should be second nature to these kids. And they're not doing it. So the question becomes, and I have to ask this, Adam, is it Avery, or is this the players just not focusing on what they need to focus on?
That's a really great question. It's the kind of thing where I don't understand why after a game like that you don't go back to Tuscaloosa and all you do for one entire practice is you shoot free throws until they make a certain number.
Well, you're getting ahead of us with that because it was a little better on Tuesday, but
it was. But I'm just saying, when you look at something, when you look at a stat that's that bad, and it's been all over the map all season, right?
Right.
So let's rewind instead of going forward. Let's rewind. It went from it's yo-yoed like that all season, and to your point, it did rebound against Ole Miss. But you look at that and you're like, how can you field a team they can only hit 44% from the line in the biggest game they've had so far this year.
Yeah.
How does that even happen? Who do you blame that on? And it might just be the pressure of the moment. I don't know. Who knows?
Well, the other thing we have to get into, and I got into a discussion. I won't say argument because discussion. CJ, good friend of the show, CJ Watson, posted his thoughts on the game after the game happened, and he said at the end the game came down to the referee blowing a whistle. CJ, I'm going to make my point again, and I want you to call in, and I know you will. I want you to call into the Blitz line, 931-44-BLITZ.
That's the one.
To combat is the wrong word, but I guess go say what you said on your Facebook. But because here's what I'm going to say. Yes, that was a bang call. If you watch it now and look back at it a couple days, having been able to cool down, John Petty picks up his pivot foot. We understand that. We know that now. Alabama fan was wrong in this. But to say that the referees cost Alabama that game is blindsided. Because what cost Alabama that game is what we talked about for the last 10 minutes. Piss poor free throw shooting. Piss poor fundamentals.
Yeah.
So if Alabama's that close at that point in time that the referee's whistle, quote unquote, cost us the game, no, they didn't cost us the game. I'm going to say something my dad always told me in high school. If you're that close that a ref's call makes the difference, it didn't matter. Help me out here, Adam. I mean, you should.
No, I'm absolutely with you. If you bring it down to a point where you had the opportunity and you're going to blame it on that, there's always something you could do to improve. And it is a little bit, and I'm not saying, CJ, you're taking the easy route, but it is a little bit of a cop-out for if the team said that, right?
Right.
It'd be a little bit of a cop-out to say, well, doggone it, we should have won. No, it was the free throw shooting. I mean, at the end of the day, if you would have made 4 more of those and had a 66%, you would have won this basketball game.
Oh,
it's
even less than that.
Simple.
If you had made 3 free throws at the beginning of the half, and we don't have to foul Tennessee at the end and they score 4 points unanswered, we win the game.
If you play a complete basketball game, not to fast forward too far, but like the second chapter of this basketball conversation, if you play fundamentals and play a complete basketball game, you can hang with anybody on any given day, whether on the road or at home.
Right.
And when there's such a glaring hole in your basketball game that you perform, like against Tennessee, you're going to lose. And it didn't come down to a whistle. It came down to the team not holding their own in one specific area.
Right.
So.
And I hate to bring up fog references. Ben's not here. We can do whatever we want.
We can do whatever we want.
Can you imagine if this had happened and Alabama lost to Tennessee in football?
Ooh. And it came down to a couple of missed extra points.
Well, not even that. And it came down to a flag at the very end, a pick play where we go in to score.
Oh, yeah.
Alabama fans be, oh, it's the flag, it's the flag, it's the flag. What would Nick Saban say?
Well, take the Saints, right, and what just happened to them. If that had been Alabama-Clemson and it ended that way, he would have said, well, we've been playing sloppy defense the entire second half. We should have scored on 3 other possessions, and then that flag wouldn't have even mattered. That's what he would run off the field.
Right, and this is the point that I've been making all season. I understand. Okay, I'm going to get flamed right now because Ben is going to yell at me when he listens to this podcast back. But the point I've been making all season is Alabama fans are complacent. Alabama basketball fans are complacent. They are trying to grasp at Avery Johnson and saying, this is the best we could do. We have to make it work. Look at the good things he's done. Yes, he has done great things. Now, don't get me wrong. He's done great in recruiting. He did good in coaching this Tennessee game. He did good in coaching this Ole Miss game. But up until these last 2 games, this has not been a good basketball team. And I'm afraid that we're growing complacent because, it's just 1 or 2 calls that could go our way. We're turning into Auburn in football. It has to be said. I'm sorry. It had to be said.
Wow. Yeah, that's something. You're wow. And I would say even in basketball, I mean, you were sharing some tweets over text today where Auburn was saying the same thing that the refs cost them the game. Against South Carolina?
Right.
I think it was, right?
It was.
But yeah, I mean, you look at the road leading up to this past weekend. I mean, we had beat Kentucky, yeah.
Right.
Then we struggled against LSU. We barely lost to Texas A&M. We beat Missouri. Then we lose it. And it just felt like just a rubber band, stretching and snapping, stretching and snapping. I feel like we're getting consistent, and I hope there's not complacency starting to set in because we don't really have anything to be complacent about. I mean, there needs to be, Ben said it himself, there needs to be an upward trajectory, and I feel like we're on that upward trajectory now. 2 games in a row, 3 if you can count the Missouri game, where we've won like we should or played like we should have, like we expect our team to play. Now, if we can do that for the rest of the SEC season, I think this would be much beyond anybody's expectations if we were to pull off, a win against a Tennessee again or another Ole Miss or, Mississippi State. Any of these ranked teams we knock off, I think every time we do it, we exceed what you and I, the Fogs, right? What we would expect our basketball team to be able to do. So I hope they continue on the path, but at the same time, I don't think we have any way, shape, or form we can be complacent right now.
Well, the next couple of games actually favors Alabama with the schedule. Now, going on the road to Baylor, I'm not too familiar with Baylor's team, so I don't know what that is, but it's Big 12 basketball. Big 12 basketball is totally different than what SEC basketball is, and so I don't know how that's going to go. And then Alabama gets Mississippi State at home, so that's actually going to be in our favor. And it's a Tuesday night. I know Ben will be there, so we won't be able to record on tonight next week, Adam. Just mental note. Tuesday night we get at Mississippi State, and then next Saturday, the Saturday after that, at Auburn. So we might get 2 wins in a row, 3 wins in a row, and then Auburn.
And we'll lean on the great vast conspiracy to make Alabama successful in whatever they do in the SEC to win the Auburn game.
Exactly, yeah. Because that's what happens. Leave it to Alabama and Auburn. We beat Auburn in everything just because it's a conspiracy, right?
Right.
So now let's get into the good of what happened. Alabama barely loses to Tennessee on the road. That can do one of 2 things. It could lift your spirits up on the road, and it could make things happen, or it could bring you down. Well, I think the former happened. Alabama looked like world beaters against Ole Miss.
They really did. I couldn't believe how big the lead got. I mean, we almost got, to 30 at one point?
Yeah, it was right up to 30, but it ended up being 74-53.
And that's unbelievable.
It is. And what Ben made the point to ask the question, and I think it needs to be asked. Is this more of an upward trajectory, as Ben likes to say, for Alabama, or is this more of a telling of how bad Ole Miss is, and they just had a good run?
I think it's a story about the upward trajectory for Alabama. I think it's an example of, like we were talking about earlier, what a complete game gets you overall. I think the one thing really still here is we were only in the 30s in field goal and 3-point percentage, but we had more opportunities. Right. And by having more opportunities, even with a lower percentage, we outscored them. But, I mean, you look at the stat here, Dave. We were 17 of 22 from the stripe, and they were 7 of 14, right?
Right.
So we had 10 points alone that were due to the higher number of free throws we made, right? Mm-hmm. So take this, and instead of 74 to 53, make it 64 to 53. And it takes a solid win against Ole Miss, and those 10 points made it feel like a blowout.
Right.
Because we were running on all cylinders where we should have been, right? I mean, we were still, and it could have even been worse if we'd have hit more of our shots. If we were in the 40s, let's say, in field goal percentage,
we would have almost hit 90.
I know. I literally think they would have had to rebuild Coleman after it shook to the ground if we would have beat somebody that bad this year. But
a ranked team even.
Yeah, exactly. And that makes it even better. I think Ole Miss is a solid team. I think this is a great win for the team. And I think it just shows that when they bring it all together, every facet of the game, defensively as well, what things turn into. It also shows, though, controlling turnovers. I mean, they had 16, we had 9. Usually that story's flipped where we have a lot more than the other team. Right. And by limiting that and taking advantage of what they were giving us, I mean, this game wasn't even close. And I kept expecting in the second half that they'd make a run, we'd have a scoring drought, it'd get tied again, but it never did. And I think it's just a testament to what our team can do.
Right. Yeah, I kept saying the same thing you did. That old scene that I love Major League and Major League 2. Yeah. I kept feeling like that guy in the outfield. Oh, they'll blow it in the ninth.
Exactly.
I kept feeling that way.
Yeah.
Something will happen and Ole Miss will get on a run. We'll just blah, 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 blah. They'll blow it in the second. But it never happened. It seemed like the only time Avery Johnson let his foot off the gas was when we were up by almost 30, and Lawson Schaefer comes in the game. When Lawson Schaefer comes in the game, you know it's over.
Yeah.
And Alabama looked good. High 70s in the free throw. Now, that number can still go up, but that is 30 percentage points better than what we did in Knoxville.
Yeah.
And I think, like you said, that's a testament to how we won the game.
Exactly.
If Alabama can shoot their free throws, then we can be a, dare I say, a top 25 team, dare I say a top 15 team. I mean, there is tons of talent on this team. I've said that all year. I don't know when the talent and the coaching are going to start clicking. And I think I said this in football too. When's the talent on defense and when's the talent on offense going to start clicking together? We never truly saw that.
Yeah.
Now I'm saying this in basketball. When is the talent on the team, the players, and the talent that I know we've got on coaching going to start clicking on all cylinders?
Yeah, absolutely.
What is it going to take for that to happen?
I honestly think that the Baylor game will be being a road game. I mean, Baylor beat Texas Tech. They've beat a couple of two or three top 25 teams. I think us being able to do it twice in a row like that and then head into Mississippi State, if we beat those three teams in a row and have a consistent game across the board, I think that's a great confidence boost heading into that road game at Auburn. I think it would be really good. But if we come back and have another game where one big part of our game costs us the game or we just play flat, I think it's going to be a struggle for the next probably 2 or 3 weeks, you know.
So let's play a what-if scenario. More than what if, let's play this scenario. This is what makes me so mad about this basketball team. And I can say this now that we're past a point where I can actually to see both sides of the coin.
Yep.
When I was truly being just basketball hater on this podcast, I probably wouldn't have been able to say this. But now that I've played nice and played mean, I can probably say this. What makes me so mad about this basketball team, we play with Kentucky, who's now a top 10 now. Yep. We almost beat the number 1 team in the country at their home arena. We beat the piss out of Ole Miss. But then we play like dog duty at LSU. We let the worst team in the SEC, Texas A&M, beat us on our home court, and we lose to Georgia Southern on our home court, and we lose to Northeastern, Western, whatever their name is, in a tournament that we should have been in the finals.
Yep.
So why is this team so rubber band, like you said? What's making them do this? Because there's a lot of senior and junior leadership on this team. But is the senior and junior leadership kind of a complacency? I mean, is the real wheels on this team the young guys, Kira Lewis?
Lewis, yeah.
Sorry, Ben.
Kira Johnson.
Ben's going to say, this is what happens when I'm not on the show.
He's sitting in whatever he's doing right now, he just had a feeling like, I feel a great disturbance in the force, you know.
Spidey senses are going off. So is this team being led by young guys like Kira Lewis Jr., John Petty, who's still only a sophomore, Tevin Mack, who hasn't been on this team but for 2 years, or I don't know. I can't put my finger on the pulse of this Alabama basketball team, and that's what makes me the most frustrated.
Yeah. And I honestly think it's just, you got to get the season under you. You got to get your legs under you. And I think this team feels the fog. I'll coin a phrase with that. They feel the fog.
Right.
And they feel the disbelief that people have that they're going to be able to pull something off.
Right.
And I think that inconsistent play earlier in the season probably was a result of that a little bit. I mean, you have to build your own confidence because you're not going to get it from the fan base. You're not going to get a raucous Coleman Coliseum jumping up and down like the bounce house at UCF or whatever they call it now. You're not going to get that as a default because you're Alabama basketball and Big Brother on campus, is the one that gets all the attention. I think as they get more quality wins like this, I think as people get more excited, I think that's where that upper trajectory could be sustained, but they got to find it, But if you look back at the schedule, let's take the Northeast and assume that one's a loss. That was by 16 points, right? Mm-hmm. We could have beat UCF. We were actually in the lead against UCF for a very brief moment. We should have beat Georgia State. So let's say we pull those two off. We would have then won 10 games in a row, including Kentucky. Mm-hmm. LSU is actually tied for first right now in the SEC.
Right.
So they're undefeated in the conference. So let's assume we would have lost that one.
We should have beat Texas A&M.
We should have beat Texas A&M. We should have beat Tennessee. That puts us only losing one game since the Northeastern game. And that's to LSU.
But now we're playing moral victories.
I'm not saying moral victories. I'm saying that this team, this is where Ben's belief, I think, is just a few decisions on the court away from paying off in a different way, right? That inconsistency, had they been consistent and had they been confident, this season would look completely different than it does right now. I think when you beat Missouri, you almost beat Tennessee, you wallop Ole Miss, if you go on the road and beat Baylor, and then you get State and you take them down too, I think that confidence could be there, and that's what I'm saying. I think that could help drive them through the rest of the conference schedule. I don't think they'll win the conference. You get Tennessee, you get an LSU or somebody in a tournament. I don't know how well they do against that, but I think you could be top 4 in the SEC. But I think the problem is we were all sitting there watching these games, Dave. You and I were doing it, and probably 78.65% of Alabama Nation was like, oh, we ain't got no basketball team. We ain't going to win any game. And they know that. They feel it, man.
Right.
But you put a crowd like was in Coleman Coliseum against Ole Miss, and you let them perform the way they do and let them feel what that feels like.
Did you watch that game?
Oh, but they were. You could.
There was no crowd there. It was nobody.
There was a dude in a shark costume having the time of his life, Dave. Nothing like that ever happened when you and I. The most exciting thing that ever happened when you and I were at Alabama was when Ole Miss would come to down and we would holler, Webster, Webster,
Hey,
at the short dude on the team.
I kicked
That was
Chris
the most
Porter.
exciting thing to ever happen.
I personally kicked Chris Porter, okay?
Well, that's exciting too. There you go.
Yes, it happened.
But I know that there wasn't a full house, but you could sense the energy. And I think if now that they can feel that that's there, I think they could take it. I think they could do something really good with it. But earlier on in the year, I think the inconsistency came from a lot of the inconsistency of what the whole experience is. To be a fan, to be a player, the whole thing. Nobody really believed. You didn't believe.
No, I didn't.
I didn't believe.
I still don't. Because let's you and I do this. Ben's going to hate us, but let's you and I do this.
All right.
Let's just play the rest of the season out here. I'm pulling the rest of the Alabama schedule up right now. My computer's running slow. Mm-hmm. All right. So we've got a good number of games. Right now we're 12-6. Saturday at Baylor. Tuesday at home versus Mississippi State.
Yep.
I think those are 2 winnable games. I'm going to go. I'll say 1-1. Just give us a bit of.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
All right. So 13-7. At Auburn's a loss.
Why?
Because it's at Auburn, and Auburn always beats Alabama in basketball. I'm saying that's a loss.
See, but that's what I'm saying. Expect them to go in there knowing that everybody feels that way. You want consistency, we got to give it to them ourselves, man. Come on.
That's a loss.
So Georgia.
Yeah, so we're 13-8.
Yep.
At home versus Georgia, 14-8.
Yep.
At Vandy, you can't win at Memorial Coliseum. Tennessee almost just lost there. There's 14-10.
No, we're not going to lose. Come on, man. Vandy's 0-6 in the conference.
Okay, so we'll give it a win.
Let's give it a win. Come on.
All right, so 15-9, right?
Yep. Yeah.
All right, so at Mississippi State, that's probably a loss. Versus Florida, that's probably a loss. At
No, not Florida. Come on, man. Wow.
At Texas A&M, that'll be a win. At home versus Vandy, that'll be a win.
So 17-12 at this point?
Yep. At Carolina, toss-up.
Yeah.
Home.
Call it a win. Give them the benefit of the doubt.
So 18.
Mm-hmm.
Home versus
LSU.
What do you think?
Let's take a win there and then a loss. Let's split LSU and Auburn 1-1.
Okay. And then finish the season at Arkansas.
So we're around the 20-win season.
I think if we can,
give or take,
if we can get 20 wins and win 1 to 2 games in the SEC tournament, we're a tournament team.
So if Alabama gets how many wins in the season, you will call Avery Johnson's desk at 11 o'clock at night and leave a voicemail apologizing to him.
No, I won't do that.
Oh, Dave, come on.
Okay, let's do this. If Alabama
25.
If Alabama wins the rest of their games, I personally will call Avery Johnson and apologize to him.
There's no way they're going to do that. Come on, that's not even in the realm of
If Alabama wins the rest of their games this year, how about this? I will personally drive to Tuscaloosa and look Avery Johnson in his eyeballs and tell him I'm sorry.
If Alabama wins out.
If Alabama wins out.
Oh, my gosh, I'm the biggest Alabama fan in the world right now. I didn't think I could be any more than I already am.
If Alabama wins out, this is more than a steak bet, Adam. If Alabama wins out, I'll one-up you. I will buy you and Ben both a steak, and I will drive to Tuscaloosa and shake Avery Johnson's hands if he'll let me and tell him I'm sorry.
Wow.
There you go.
We're totally tweeting that to him, too. He's going to respond. I just know it.
I hope so. And I hope that Ben listens to this and laughs tiny off. So there's our basketball. See, Ben, it wasn't that bad. Me and Adam talking basketball by ourselves, was it? It wasn't horrible.
Oh, it was fun.
Hey, something that we know is not horrible is our partnership with the great guys over there at Roosport. Adam,
Amen.
Tell them about it.
Well, you've heard us talk about it. You know we love it. It's the pouch that clips to your waistband with magnets. So for running, hiking, traveling, music concerts, if you go to a basketball game, anywhere really that you need to carry stuff around, but you don't want to have to take a backpack. You don't want to have to take a fanny pack if people even use those. I see tourists all the time, particularly here in Orlando. Little do they know that with a Roosport, they would not have to publicly embarrass themselves wearing a fanny pack. That's all it would take. And so not only are they making it easier to train for half marathons, but they're saving people from public embarrassment, one customer at a time. Yep.
Speaking of half marathons, Adam.
Yeah.
30 days.
I know, man. I just my Achilles has been acting up, and I'm running. No, listen to me. I'm running.
Okay.
I just got my brand new pair of Brooks. I've gotten two runs.
You just got a brand new pair and we're running in 30 days?
I have to because of my Achilles.
Okay.
It's necessary. So I'm training with them. I've gotten 2 runs under me with them. Everything's pretty good so far, so we're gonna make it happen, man.
Well, I've got to start running outside because everything I've been doing lately is treadmill because it's just been blistering cold and raining here in Alabama. Yeah. Everything I've done since Star Wars, I guess, has been treadmill.
Treadmill, yeah. You got to get some roading. And that's the beauty of it at the end of the day with Roosport, man, is when you need to go do a road run, you don't have to drive to the gym. You take your phone, you take your Apple Watch, you take your AirPods, your earpods, your whatever pods you're using.
I run with my Beats.
You throw them right in you throw everything you need in your Roosport, you go out the door, and you're gone.
I love it.
So it's beautiful, man. It's the easiest thing in the world. That's why running is one of the greatest things, and Roosports just makes it that much easier because you just head out the door and go. So out there on their website, guys, theroosport.com. Head up there and look at their whole product line. Use the code SIDELINE30, all lowercase letters, and then the number 30. And off their entire product line of pouches and battery packs and the Roo Lounger, you get 30% off. Use that code and head out and take a look at what they've got today.
Yep. And I guess we're going to go ahead and try to figure out a way because, 5 weeks from now, we're actually going to try to have them record a promo themselves. Because they've already told us that they're going to be at the Princess Half Marathon Expo.
Yep.
And Adam and I are going to go together, and we're going to try to bring some recording equipment and figure out what we can do to get them to record for us.
Yeah. So here's a blitz on idea before we roll out this and start with the second half. What should Dave, Blair, and I collectively dress up as during the race? So 93144 Blitz, the Sideline Warning fan group. Anybody who has a great idea, share it. We have 30 days to prepare, and we need your ideas.
I will say this. Me and Adam dressing up as a princess is off the table. That is off the table. That is true, yeah. I will not be running in a dress or a gown. Not happening. Not happening. Besides, you don't want to see these legs and this belly running in a gown.
I'd be running in front of you the whole time.
You probably will be anyway.
Yeah, all things considered.
Adam, I'm getting tired, man.
Really?
I think I need to make a call to the bullpen.
Do you?
Yep, here we go. All right. Mariano, one more.
Everybody knows they just did the drums, too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I did it in my head. Come on, you know it. I got to keep it going. I don't care. Let Metallica sue us.
There you go, man.
All right, so you know this music means one thing. It's time to exit light. Time to enter night. Take my hand and go off into Never Never Land, Mariano Rivera, because you are now the very first unanimous first ballot Major League Hall of Famer.
That's impressive.
And I'll tell you what, Adam. I'm a Yankee hater till I die. I hate the New York Yankees with a burning passion.
Hate?
Hate.
Bad?
Hate.
Seethe. Loathing.
Yes.
Got it.
Yes. They're up there with the Mets, the Phillies, the Nationals.
Basically every other Northeastern baseball team.
Burning passion of hate. But there is one man. Let me caveat.
Oh, here's the asterisk.
Modern Yankees.
There you go.
Mickey Mantle was one of my heroes. My papa's hero. I wore number 7 partly because of Mick, mostly because of Jay Barker. But back to what I was saying. Burning, loathing, seething,
deep-seated hatred
for the New York Yankees. But the one man that wore pinstripes for his entire career that I have always respected and I've always rooted for, Mariano Rivera.
Amen.
There is, for everything that's wrong with baseball in the 90s and 2000s, Mariano Rivera was the class. He was the classiest man to put on pinstripes, to wear cleats. He was the classiest man in baseball.
Yep.
Hands down, no questions asked. And if he did anything but 100% of everybody that voted for the Major League Hall of Fame, it would have been a travesty.
Yep.
Babe Ruth didn't make 100%. Chipper Jones didn't make 100%. Hell, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, Tommy Glavine didn't make 100%.
You know why? Because chicks dig the long ball.
Mad Dog probably should have been 100%.
Yeah.
But heck, Hank Aaron didn't make 100%. Hank Aaron.
Yeah.
Mariano Rivera. This stat just blows my mind every time I've heard this. In the postseason, there have been more men to step foot on the moon than to step foot on the home plate versus Mariano Rivera.
Wow. If you believe NASA.
Please. Come on.
I'm kidding. But yeah, that's incredible, man.
ERA of 2.21, saves leader of 652, only 286 walks, 1,173 strikeouts. He let up less than 1,000 hits.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see how many innings pitched. In 1,283.2 innings pitched. There will never be another closer like Mariano Rivera.
No. I mean, he has an MVP from an ALCS, a World Series, and an All-Star game. I mean, he's that impactful just closing, right?
Yeah.
And it's one of those people, like I think about, and a lot of people may disagree with this, but I think about Drew Brees in the same vein as Mariano Rivera, and just somebody that you look at and you like the person that they are, and the craft that they do just adds to that, right? Like the two work together to make like this legendary kind of feeling that you feel that person about, you know. And I'm the same way about the Yankees. I've never had much love for them, but Rivera's one of the guys that it was sad to see him retire because you just love watching him play. You know when he comes out, it's going to be good baseball.
Yeah, every time you heard Sandman. I mean,
yep.
Metallica is a 4-letter word of a band. We know this. They shut
good
down,
band?
No, the bad. They shut down Napster. Come on. They're a-holes. But for Metallica themselves to the day that when Mariano got announced as the Hall of Famer, Metallica went out of their way down here in Birmingham to make a video to Mariano to say, congratulations, thank you for using our song.
Yeah.
You know that's a big deal.
Oh, yeah.
So we got Mariano. His praise is out of the way. Great.
And somehow along the way, we've also thrown Metallica under the bus.
Well, I love their music. Hate what they stand for.
Yeah. So anyway,
yeah.
There were three other guys that made it.
Three other guys. One of them is deserving. One of them is borderline in my mind. The other one, I don't know why he made it. So we'll have this discussion. First off, Edgar Martinez, another great guy of baseball. He played in Seattle, so a lot of people on the East Coast, like myself, East Coast and I'd say Midwest, didn't really get to see him play much because he's always playing at night. Kind of like anybody that plays for the Angels or the Dodgers or anything like that. But he got 85.4% of the vote. He would have basically rolled off of the voting status if he didn't get in this time. Let's read out his stats here. 309 home runs, 1,261 RBIs. Shockingly, he had 49 stolen bases. He was a big man. 1,283 walks. So, yeah, pretty good.
Yeah.
312 batting average, 418 on-base percentage, 515 slugging, OPS. Oh, why did I forget what OPS was? On-base and slugging percentage. Wow, that's... Whatever, 933. I'm a baseball guy. I should know that. He's borderline in my book.
Well, that's why it took him 10 tries.
Right. He deserves all the accolades. But in my mind, and this might be my Braves fandom poking its head in here, Fred McGriff is the same guy.
Yeah.
So why did Fred McGriff only get 39.8% of the votes? I mean, Crime Dog has 493 home runs. He's got more home runs, more RBIs, more stolen bases, more walks, a little bit less of a batting average, less of an on-base percentage, less of a slugging, less of a OPS. So in the categories that the everyday fan looks at, home run, RBI, stolen base, hits, blah, 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 he's got more. I think Crime Dog and our Seattle listener will probably want to fight me on this, but I think Crime Dog was a better player, if not the same as Edgar Martinez, because Edgar Martinez was just a DH. Crime Dog had to actually play in the field.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, and that's why it was such a long road for why it's the 10th ballot for Martinez, right? Because, I mean, you think DH, but... I agree. I was shocked when Fred was that low.
Yeah,
and disappointed. And that is Braves fandom totally speaking right there, absolutely. But they played the same time frame. They were basically, like you said, their stats were comparable with Fred McGriff having the edge in some of them. But yeah. I agree. He was borderline though. I do agree with that.
So here's the two. One that deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. I don't think he was going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer if something hadn't have happened in his personal life. Roy Halladay. Doc Halladay, as a Philly, pissed me off. As a Blue Jay, I didn't care about him. He was a great pitcher. He was. But was he a first ballot Hall of Famer in my mind? Let me read you the stats. 203 wins, 105 losses, 3.38 ERA, a whip of 1.178. He played in 416 games. He started 390 of them. He gave up close to 3,000 hits, gave up 236 home runs, struck out 2,117. Is that first ballot Hall of Fame material to you? Or are we pandering the fact that he died in a helicopter accident and, kind of saying, oh, we feel sorry for you, Doc Halladay?
Yeah, I think that probably did feed into a little bit. I mean, he was a really good pitcher. I have to say,
he was one best.
I remember him like the best, right? And it just the the amount of innings he put in, the type of work he was able to do, I totally agree with the nomination. I do think the first ballot aspect, or I mean, not his nomination, but his induction into the Hall of Fame, I think the first ballot aspect of it has more to do with the way that it's posthumous and what happened to him. I think the fact that it's first ballot ties back to what happened to him. I think Hall of Fame ties back to his stats. I don't see him first ballot if he was alive, and I say that. God rest his soul.
Yeah.
But I think that contributed a little bit to why it was first ballot. But I think eventually he would have made it.
Looking at other pitchers that deserve to be in here, Andy Pettitte was a first ballot Hall of Famer, and he didn't get in. He only made 9.9% of the vote.
Yeah. Yep.
I would say Andy Pettitte and Roy Halladay were comparable.
Yeah.
In fact, looking at the stats, they were right there on par with each other.
I like how much you're referencing the stats today, Dave.
Hey, I did my homework this week.
I love this.
When it comes to baseball, I do my work.
Own it. Own it.
Dare I say, Kurt Schilling deserves to be in the Hall of Fame before.
We'll talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, we will. Dare I say, Adam?
Don't you say it. We'll talk about that in a minute.
Roger Clemens.
Oh, don't say it. Oh, Dave.
So, there we go. But then Mike Mussina. Great career. But let me read you this stat line. He got 76.7% of the vote, so barely got in. This was his 6th year on the ballot. 3.68 ERA. He didn't get over 300 wins. He gave up 376 home runs. He walked 785 batters and struck out less than 3,000. I don't know about you guys and you, Adam, but I don't really know if Mike Mussina is a Hall of Famer. I truly think that Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, Andy Pettitte, heck, I really think Billy Wagner deserves to go in the Hall of Fame before I would put Mike Mussina in this. Now, Mike Mussina probably would have gotten in on the 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th ballot. I think those two would have been, or those ballots would have been, he would have gotten in because he's one of those guys that I think deserves the look, but I don't think that 76.6% of the vote should go to Mike Mussina this early in his vote, in his being eligible for this Hall of Fame. I think that Mike Mussina just really, he underwhelmed me as a Yankee. He underwhelmed me as an Oriole. Whenever I saw Mike Mussina get on the toe the leather for the Yankees, honestly, I didn't care. And if you really want to say it, this guy was probably the third best pitcher on this team, on those Yankees teams. One guy that Adam and I are going to argue about till our faces get red. Roger Clemens was better than Mussina. Andy Pettitte was definitely better than Mussina. So why is Mussina getting in for Andy Pettitte, and why is Mussina getting in before Roger Clemens? You're going to throw in the steroids. I understand that, but let's go.
So Mussina's been in the 20s, right, on his previous ballots.
Right.
So, I mean, he's been pretty far out. I no disrespect to the three guys that made it in with Rivera, Halladay, Martinez, or Mussina. I think possibly the reason that they got in with such overwhelming vote totals is the next three after them. And the fact that the next three are Kurt Schilling, Roger Clemens, and Barry Bonds,
right.
Perhaps.
Maybe.
I think that probably fed into it a little bit. And, hey, you know what? Kudos to these guys for making it into the Hall of Fame. But I think that there's probably a little bit to that of people could not. There's a large number of people that aren't going to vote for those three. I mean, Kurt Schilling can't stay off of Twitter. And both Clemens and Bonds couldn't lay off the juice.
But does the Hall of Fame what the Heisman claims to be? The Hall of Fame, the Heisman
claims to be.
Well,
yeah, no, claims. The word claims is very important.
Jameis Winston,
exactly.
Johnny Football.
Yes, no, claims to be. Yep. Keep going, please.
The Heisman claims to be a moralistic award. The Hall of Fame is what you did on the playing surface.
No, it's not, because they won't let Pete Rose back in.
Well, but he bet on baseball on the playing surface.
But did he ever change the outcome of a game to benefit himself?
Do we know that?
Well, we know for a fact that Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds did something against the rules, and exactly what they did changed the outcome of games. Performance.
Was it illegal? Was it illegal in baseball when they did it?
Performance.
Was it illegal in baseball
drugs.
when they did
it's still cheating. I don't. I mean, no, you can't go back and say no. It's not like the Constitution, man, where it wasn't illegal then, so we can't arrest you for it now. That's actually in the Bill of Rights. This is sports. It moves and it's fluid. You know at the time you shouldn't be juicing, and they shouldn't get in the Hall of Fame because of it. They took actions that actually changed the results on the field in their favor that other people on the field were not doing because it's wrong.
Do we know that?
Yeah, we know that, dude. Barry Bonds was the size of a house.
No, I understand he was, but do we know that the other guys weren't juicing? Because the only guys that we're going after are these guys that were named in the Jose Canseco book.
No, the only guys I'm going after are the ones that went from weighing 100 pounds when I got the first starting lineup action figure of these guys, and then they never made another starting lineup action figure of these guys because they'd not enough plastic in the world to make a starting lineup figure of Sammy Sosa, Mark McGwire, Roger Clemens, Barry Bonds, whose necks were the size of my thighs.
So
dude.
Now we're going to get in.
Obvious that they were juicing and other people weren't.
I thought the discussion was going to be the Braves where we get into an argument, but it's actually going to be this. Okay, so let's get into this.
Bring it.
Okay, so I actually had this discussion at work today. Barry Bonds, to me, yes, he juiced, he used performance-enhancing drugs that were illegal in the country, that should have been illegal everywhere else. Roger Clemens, yes, he juiced. I do think those guys will get in eventually, probably on the 10th ballot. They will make a point, and they'll get in eventually. The one man that I think deserves, the two men that I think deserves to be in the Hall of Fame because of what they did for baseball at the time that they played it, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa. Mark McGwire went before Congress and admitted, yes, I used androstenedione. At the time, in the 90s, androstenedione was not an illegal drug. It was not an illegal substance in any sport. Androstenedione was basically what we know as creatine now. It was a supplement that helped you when you were working out. So, what Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa did was brought baseball back from the brink of dead. Do you as a Braves fan, you watched baseball, I understand that. But your fans, your friends from 94 after the strike up until the home run stretch of the 98 season, did your friends really care about baseball that much?
Care so much? No.
Were they talking about it?
Yeah, I mean, in Braves terms, we were talking about the Braves, though. Right. We weren't talking about baseball like a thing.
In 1998, when both Sammy Sosa and Mark McGwire were chasing the unchaseable of Roger Maris, you weren't talking about just the Braves. You were talking about Major League Baseball. Baseball became the thing to watch again. Major League Baseball needs to thank Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa and not shun them. The floor is yours, sir.
If you found out tomorrow that Dale Earnhardt won all those championships because he was using a fuel additive that wasn't outlawed, wasn't illegal to use in a car on the street, that was basically known as a fuel injector cleaner now, but he was using something in his car that the likelihood is no one else was using, so therefore his car was faster, and he was able to win more races and therefore more championships. Would you feel the same way about him, God rest his soul, that you used to?
Yes.
Exactly the same.
Let me ask you this. Is Nick Saban using an advantage? Is Bill Belichick using every advantage that he can? to coach around his peers?
It's one
It's
thing
the
to
same thing.
coach around. No, you can't sit here and say, well, look at Mark McGwire. He just spent more time at the gym than everybody else.
No.
He spent more time at the gym and was drinking this stuff that physically made him look like the Hulk. And yes, Mark McGwire and Sammy Sosa made baseball come alive again. Everybody was jazzed about it and all that. But Barry Bonds, Mark McGwire, Sammy Sosa were only who they were because of the PEDs. They would never in a million years have been the way that they were in that late 90s stretch, early 2000 stretch. Barry Bonds never would have broken the home run record if it wasn't for PEDs.
He didn't break it in my mind.
So Hall of Fame. No, what I'm saying, asterisk broke it, right?
Right.
But those three guys, Mariano Rivera never had to do anything like that we know of. I know no one really knows what goes on. But those three guys would have been 2/3 of the players they were without it. And that's why they should never be in the Hall of Fame, because they had to do that to win. And in sports, you should never resort to that to have to win. It's not that important at the end of the day. And we shouldn't celebrate it in any way, shape, or form.
Okay. Well, we are going to agree to disagree on that subject.
I'm disappointed in you that you think those guys should be in there. And frankly, if Barry Bonds ever makes it into the Hall of Fame, I will not visit Cooperstown in my lifetime.
Have you ever yet?
I will. Eventually. It's on my bucket list. But if his name is on it, I will not go. Because what is it then?
I see your point. I truly do.
Babe Ruth set the home run record smoking cigars, eating like a pig, and riding on a train around the country. You shouldn't have to do it to be that successful, and I'll put it down with that. You're going to get me fired up, Dave Adams.
Well, hey, we're about to do it again. You ready? Let's get into the Braves. All right. So the Atlanta Braves signed #failure again. He's coming back, folks.
Yeah, baby.
Nick Markakis is coming back. 1-year deal worth guaranteed $6 million, a $4 million salary in 2019 with a $2 million buyout on a $6 million option for the 2020 season. Thoughts?
I mean, I like it.
I'll tell you what, as a player, I like what it brings to the team. I like the monetary value of it. I think there are guys out there the Braves could have got that could have brought a little bit more to this team. A.J. Pollock comes to mind. I think there's some other guys out there. Adam Jones probably could have fit in this position. But there's some familiarity. I think A.J. Pollock has some familiarity with Ender Inciarte, but he was wanting more money. I think with this 1 to 2 year deal, it gives the Braves some flexibility in some trading. It gives the Braves some flexibility in maybe a market next year. Let's face facts. The Braves are not going after Bryce Harper.
No.
We know that's not happening. So, as an outfield, I think this is what needed to happen.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, he played his way in too.
Yeah,
I mean, they gave him they put him in last year. He played his way in. He did great. First All-Star game, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, he earned it. And so let's see if he does it again. And I like the opportunity for the multi-year aspect of it too. So
yeah,
I'm on board. I'm fully on board with that one. I am more on board with that one than anything else the Braves have done in the offseason in terms of transactions.
You don't like bringing back B-Mac?
I can get behind. Okay, yeah. You got me on that one.
Okay.
Yeah, I can get behind that one too. Okay.
You don't like bringing the best third baseman that the Braves have had since, dare I say, the name that I'm going to name my dog. I'm naming my dog Chip after Chipper. The Braves are now bringing in the best third baseman that has put on the Braves uniform since Chipper Jones, Josh Donaldson.
For how long?
1 year.
For how much money?
$23 million.
Ridiculous.
Worth every penny if he hits 30 to 35 home runs.
So what you're saying is it's an investment.
It is an investment.
It's an investment and has all the associated risk. Got
exactly. It. He is now hitting in a hitter's park.
Yeah.
So
for $23 million.
Okay, so what would you have done?
Oh, I don't know. Let me tell you, my whole thing about how this has gone is we've been talking now, gosh, man, I've been doing this with you guys coming up on a year now, right?
Yep.
And since then, all of the stuff we've talked with Braves and baseball has been we've got to do something about the bullpen. We've got to do something about the bullpen.
They did. They brought in Darren O'Day, who is one of the best, the most clutch closers in the American League.
So how many innings is he going to pitch a night?
1 to 2.
Okay. How many nights a week?
Who knows?
Okay. So there's 1 to 2. The middle inning, so we're going to handle those?
Yeah, he's a middle inning guy. He's not a closer.
You said closer though.
No,
so middle inning guy.
Yeah, middle. Fine. They brought in Darren O'Day.
So he's a middle inning guy. That's one dude.
Okay. The Braves the Braves brought Venters back.
Yeah, dude.
He looked good last year.
What we're doing though is we're nibbling at the edges of the problem, and I don't know who.
Name somebody.
This is the conversation we had over text. When we spend $23 million on a 1-year deal for a third baseman, how much leeway do we really have to bring in a guy? How like fire Avery, hire Hoiberg over here? How can we find a silver bullet on a McDonald's budget? I don't know.
Well, the Braves.
That's a great question. But the moves, I guess what I'm saying is that it's like we brought in Josh, and I know we needed depth in the infield. I know that's what you're going to say to me if I argue too much on that one, is that we needed it, and I don't disagree with that. But it just feels to me like either there's a lot going on in the background that we don't know about, and we're going to be really pleased when all this is over with, or there's not someone, and we're just trying to piece together what we can to replicate last year with that problem somewhat solved. Because it doesn't feel like we're going after a solution. It feels like we're bringing in a few people that'll help. But it's Avery Johnson. It's that, this is good. But it's not like, okay, now we're set. I mean, you see teams going after big names, like trying to build 3-4-man, parts of their roster from pulling from different teams of huge names together. And I just wish we could do that once. I said the same thing last year in the offseason.
Hey, Adam.
I want us to make a splash, Dave.
Adam, how did the Braves of the 90s do it?
Go ahead and say it.
How did the Braves of the 90s do it?
No, you say it. I'm not going to say it.
They built from their farm system.
I know. Yeah.
They brought,
how long are we going to say that?
I'm sorry, but look what our farm system has right now. Kyle Wright, who probably... we brought him up too early last year. Kyle Wright, who pitched here in Huntsville, Alabama, is lights out when he played for Vandy. He was lights out when he was in the minor leagues. Give him 1 to 2 more years in minor leagues, he's going to be lights out in the majors. I promise you that.
Just in time for us to trade him.
Well, probably. Luis Gohara, lights out when he's not hurt.
So I'm gonna pull a Benjamin Hollywood Foster on you, and I'm gonna spin it on you. Are you okay with an upward trajectory?
Okay, an upward trajectory.
Are you okay with that, or do you want to win?
Do you know what
the National League?
Do you know what an upward trajectory will be for the Braves? Winning LDS, making it to the National League Championship Series.
So your goal is to win the NLDS.
Do I think that the Braves can beat the Dodgers if they inevitably sign Bryce Harper next year? Probably not.
Why?
Because they're going after they've got the wallet to sign all that. The Braves
it's the money. I mean, there's a whole book about that. No, I understand that. But what would we need to overcome that? Are we ever going to be able to overcome?
You know what we need? Ted Turner. Yeah. We need Ted Turner.
I don't think he's a good bullpen guy, but I'll take your word for that.
We need Ted Turner back. We need somebody to buy the Braves, and not some corporation to buy the Braves.
Yeah. No, I'm totally with you, man. It's like I've been saying this since last season, though. I just want us in an area that everyone agrees is a problem. I want a bold move made, just like we say about Avery. And it's okay to be on an upward trajectory for only so long before if you don't start achieving your longer reach goals, then it's time to make a change. I think we're going to get to that point where just rely on the farm system is only going to work for another year or two. And the upward trajectory has got to become we actually win in the playoffs.
Okay.
And go and advance a couple of times.
So let me ask you this. Then who? Because the only starting pitcher that I've seen that was on the free agent market right now that to possibly go after was CC Sabathia. Adam, he's older than you and me.
Well, that's been our MO lately.
No, but okay. See, you said that on the text, and now I'm going to say it here in person. You said it on the text. That was not Alex Anthopoulos. That was the old regime. They tried to do it that way, and it didn't work.
Yeah.
So who do we go after now? Okay, I don't know. Nathan Eovaldi was a guy that was out there in free agency. He went back to the Red Sox. He wasn't going to come out there. Who's another starting pitcher that we could go after? The Giants want to trade Mad Bomb. Do you know who they probably would want in a trade? Either Acuna or Alex Albies.
Well, they'd want a big name to go with it.
Do we trade you Alex Albies or
no,
or Ozzy Albies or Ronald Acuna? Not just no. We laugh at your face when you make that phone call.
I know, Dave.
So here's my. Let me put this to you here, Adam.
Please do.
Okay, so here's my starting five, and this could be a solid starting five. Your one is interchangeable because Ben and I have had this conversation multiple times.
Yep, you have.
Either Sean Newcomb or Flynevich, one or two. Whoever you want to put as 1 and 2. I'm okay with that. Your 3 would be Kevin Gausman. Your 4 would be Tuki Toussaint, or you can do Mike Soroka there. And your 5 would be, God love him, Julio Teheran. But he's not your starting guy anymore. He's now your 5. So there's 6 pitchers that are good starting pitchers in the major leagues.
Yeah.
Who's out there now that you would say is better than those 6?
Better than those 6 that's acquirable?
Yes.
Oh. I mean, that's the thing is it's the acquirable piece that you always trip me up on, Dave.
There's nobody out there. Great. You want to go get Mad Bomb? Okay, fine. Give me Luis Gohara. Give me Ronald Acuna or Ozzy Albies.
Yeah.
And you're going to have to give me Kyle Wright. Not happening.
But it's the same thing we're talking. I don't mean to keep making basketball references in a baseball conversation, Dave. But it's the same thing. I mean, I just feel like there's a piece of our game that is not complete in the middle reliever spot. I just don't feel like it's complete. I don't feel like we have somebody. If one of those starters gets in a jam, just isn't having the night, who do you turn to?
I got you.
You got me. You got me. Please,
he doesn't
slam me down so hard that I just shut up.
You can't sign him right now because right now he wants too much money.
It's the acquirable thing. It's the acquirable thing.
Hear me out. No one has wanted to sign him for this much money. Craig Kimbrell wants 5 years, upwards of what I've read, somewhere $80 million.
Okay.
Craig Kimbrell's not worth that anymore.
So if I divide $80 million over 5 years, what's the math on that?
It might be $80 million a year. Let me see what that was. Hold up.
Is it $80 million a year for reals? Wow.
He wants a lot of money.
How fast can you Google?
I'm Googling right now. Just Google Craig Kimbrell. Twins. I'm seeing everybody wanting. I'm reading. Give me a second. Possible landing spots for Craig Kimbrell. One of them. Oh, look who that's. No, he is not one of the Phillies. Shut up.
Red Sox. I see the Red Sox would be a good spot. This is
okay. Here, Craig Kimbrell. Craig Kimbrell's asking price is 6 years, $100 million.
6 years, $100 million. 100 divided by 6 is $16 million a year.
Right.
If you divide Josh Donaldson's $23 million divided by 1 year.
Yeah, okay, $23 million.
Yeah, $23 million.
But he plays every day.
So we could have paid.
He plays every day.
And I agree, we need depth, and depth that plays every day. Mm-hmm. We also need what Kimber would bring.
But let me ask you this.
It's an investment
but
with all the associated risks.
One baseball man to another, Adam. Here's the deal. The closer is not as important of a player as the third baseman, the starting pitcher, the first baseman, the catcher. These are the players that are going to play win or lose every single day. Kimbrell is only going to play on the games where the Braves are up by 3 or less and have a chance to win the game. So if the Braves are blowing a team out, Kimbrell doesn't pitch. If the Braves are winning by 5, Kimbrell doesn't pitch. If the Braves are losing, Kimbrell doesn't pitch. So am I going to pay a guy for 6 years, $100 million, that kind of money for a guy that might play 60 to 70 games a year?
Who was the first unanimous, and I know it's not the same player, who's the first unanimous first ballot Hall of Famer? What position?
Mariano Rivera.
What position?
He played closer because he never blew a save. Kimbrell has blown more saves than...
But no, I'm talking about the value of the position.
If Mariano Rivera was on the free agent market, then yes, throw the entire roster of
mortgage
cash
the stadium to get the man
to Mariano Rivera.
I agree.
But it's Craig Kimbrell.
I understand. My overall point, Dave, is we all have agreed for over us a year, all of us together longer than that, there's a pitching problem that needs a firm solution in Atlanta. And I feel like moving in Donaldson, I think, is a good move, and it rounds out the infield. It gives us a good bat. I agree with the moves that have happened on those fronts. I give you a hard time about that because of the money for 1 year, but there just hasn't been that move. And every list you look at of all the free agents, all the guys that are out there that would fit for several teams, the Braves are only shown as an interested team or a possible landing spot for a very small number of them. I mean, you got guys like Dallas Keuchel and Craig Kimbrell. You've got Nathan Eovaldi, Adam Ottavino, Charlie Morton. You probably have a million reasons why we'd only want one of those guys anyway. But the fact is we have to bring somebody in eventually and make a move in this front. It can't keep being kind of nibbling. Like I said earlier, it feels like we're nibbling at the edges of the problem. We're not really solving the problem.
So what you're wanting is a Fred McGriff, Greg Maddux type hire.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Who?
I just named several guys we could go after
Adam
Montevino.
That's not Greg Maddux. Nathan Eovaldi, that's not Greg Maddux.
But you already said
Greg Maddux hire. He's not there this year.
Well, I agree. But what I'm saying is that we have to do something. And if it's giving a dude a shot out of the farm system, give a dude a shot out of the farm system again. Do something. But we can't go into next year having pretty much the same pitching rotation with a few old men thrown in along the way, and I say that in jest. But we can't really just move over to next year kind of doing the same thing and hoping that everybody progresses.
Hey,
you wouldn't let Alabama basketball do that, Dave. It's not acceptable for the Braves.
Hey, Adam, when the Braves traded a well-known player to the Detroit Tigers for an unknown pitcher, right-handed pitcher in the early 90s, do you know who that guy was?
No.
John Smoltz.
Okay, so who's the unknown guy?
Who knows?
What move have we even made?
Who knows?
What unknown guy are we going after?
We're
not going after anybody.
We don't know because Smoltz had only played one season in the pros.
We are not going after anybody. Known, unknown, cheap, expensive. We're doing nothing.
The 5 starting guys that I just mentioned to you, who do you take out of that roster? Who do you take out of that starting 5? We loved Tukey last year. We loved Mike Soroka when he played before he got hurt.
Also true.
We love Nuke. We love Fulte.
Yep.
You and Ben love the Gossman trade.
Yep.
So who do we take out of that starting 5?
I don't know.
Okay, my point is made. My point is made.
I don't disagree with the point that you're making, Dave, that there's just not a market for the type of thing we do. I don't disagree with that at all. It's just, it's like when you've got that kind of noise in your car and you just don't fix it because, hey, the car's taking me to work every day. Eventually, we're going to have to solve this problem. And I just hope that when the market's ready, Dave, and when we can agree on somebody, that we want it, because it sure doesn't seem like we're going to move because we've been awfully quiet in that space.
Well, let me say this. I'm awfully glad that Alex Anthopoulos is in the front office there in Atlanta, and the man is not named
Fire
Adam
AA.
Russell.
Hashtag Fire AA. And it's completely lame for me not to come to the table with any names. So if anybody wants to call the Blitz line and call me out on that, I get it. And I know it proves Dave's point that there's not really anybody out there. But I really do think that there's got to be somebody, like you said, an unknown guy, something to get that middle soft spot taken care of. Anyway, I'll step off my soapbox.
Can I hear those 2 words that every co-host longs to hear?
I do not talk like that, Dave. I don't think you are. Because when the Braves made a trade to the Detroit Tigers for an unknown player, we're not even doing anything like that. We're signing $23 million one-year deals with people, Dave. Anyway.
All right, so there you go. There's our Braves talk. We've gone over what we thought we were going to do tonight, so we're not going to do a sideline warning. But what we are going to do, Adam, we're going to pick some basketball.
Are we now?
We are. I've got it pulled up. I know Ben.
You got it pulled up.
I know
you're channeling.
Ben normally does these, but I am going to channel my inner Ben Foster. You ready?
Oh, no.
Basketball is awesome. Avery Johnson is the man. Buckled up. Okay, I'm ready. All right. At 11 o'clock at the Pavilion at Ole Miss in Oxford, number 24 Iowa State goes on the road to face number 20 Ole Miss. We know they won't be number 20 after the new polls come out. Who you got, Adam?
I'm actually going to go with Iowa State on this one. I think that loss is going to take a couple of games for Ole Miss to completely recover from, and I think this one they're going to drop, even though it's at home.
I agree with you on that. I will also take Iowa State on the road. You like how it paused for dramatic effect like Ben does?
That was nice. Oh, my goodness.
The next game is going to be Alabama at Baylor, but we will save that for the end. Also another Benism. We also have on ESPN2 at 11 a.m. Central Time, Florida goes on the road to play TCU. Who do you got?
I'm going to take Florida in this one. I think the Gators have got it. Looking over who TCU's played and who they've beat, there's just not anything that jumps out as really overly impressive to me. But again, Big 12's a little bit different. I don't think it'll be a blowout, but I think Florida's got that one.
I agree with you. I'm also going to take Florida.
Wow.
Just to prove a point how much it doesn't matter in the Big 12. Tickets are still 182 tickets are still available for as low as $14.
Wow.
1 o'clock on ESPNU at Oklahoma State. They just beat Auburn. South Carolina travels to Oklahoma State. Who you got?
I've got South Carolina in this one.
We're going to be the same again.
3 for 3 again, right? Yeah, I think that what they showed against Auburn, if they can do it again, I mean, Oklahoma State's just been iffy at best. I mean, they're third from the bottom in the Big 12, so I think South Carolina can take this one.
Once again, 337 tickets available for as low as $6.
$6.
Same time, ESPN2 at what? Texas goes on the road to play Georgia. No, this isn't the Sugar Bowl. This is basketball. 587 tickets as low as $6.
Wow.
Who you got here?
I've got Texas. Georgia's been on kind of a skid. And it's been against some really good competition, but I'm going to pick Texas in this one.
I can't disagree with you yet again.
Wow.
Same time on the big channel, 488 tickets for as low as $3. In College Station, Kansas State goes on the road to face Texas A&M. Who you got?
Kansas State. Top of the Big 12 right now. They beat Iowa State, so I think take care of Texas A&M. Even as hard as it is to play on the road against an SEC team.
I think this is where we are going to differ, Adam.
Really?
I'm going to take Texas A&M here.
Wow.
Let's make another side note here. These games do not count in the home-road tie margin here.
And the stake bet.
Yeah, and the stake bet. So these games do not count. By the way, there are 2 stake bets on the table. I think we talked about our Jalen Hurts stake bet.
Yes.
Last week.
Yes.
No, we didn't because you weren't on the show.
Oh, that's right.
So we had the stake bet between you, me, and Ben about home versus road record. If the road team is over 500 in the season, I win the stake. If the home team is over 500, then Ben wins the stake. If it's exactly a tie, then you win the stake. You and I have a stake bet of who goes to New York for the Heisman.
That's right.
If Jalen Hurts goes to New York for the Heisman, then I owe you a stake. If he doesn't, then backwards. You owe me a stake if Jalen goes to New York. If he doesn't, I owe you a stake.
That's right. And now we have a third one. Is if Alabama wins the rest of their games, you owe me a stake and a trip to Tuscaloosa to apologize in person to Avery.
I will fly to Orlando.
There's 3.
I will fly to Orlando to buy you a steak at Shula's.
No, I'm flying to Tuscaloosa to personally watch you shake Avery Johnson's hands when I'm going.
I'm going to up this, Adam. If Alabama wins the rest of their games, I will buy you a steak at Shula's.
Hey, all right. It's on now.
Okay.
Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.
Buckled up. Roll Tide. Roll Tide.
To which
anyway.
To which my wife, by the way, just texted me and said, we're furloughed right now. Stop it.
You won't be by then. That's a long way away.
Right, exactly. All right, 3 o'clock on ESPN at Thompson-Boling Arena. West Virginia goes to play Tennessee, the number 1 Tennessee Volunteers. Who you got?
Dave's new favorite team that he was actually rooting for today.
Hey, Tennessee was the road team.
Because of the stake bet. Tennessee, man.
Yeah, we can't go apart here. Tennessee.
No.
All right, same time, ESPN2. 715 tickets for as low as $3 still available in the Lloyd Noble Center in Norman, Oklahoma. Vanderbilt goes on the road to Oklahoma. Who cares?
Yeah. I mean, Oklahoma's going to win this one. Vanderbilt will lose their 6th or 7th in a row. Yeah. I don't think Vandy's got what it takes.
I got Vandy.
Wow, you're really high on the SEC, man.
Oklahoma's not good, man.
Neither is Vanderbilt.
Well, okay. All right, so here's a game that people will actually watch. There's 804 tickets available, but they're as low as $42.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I wonder why. Number 9, Kansas, at number 8, Kentucky. Who you got?
I've got Kansas, Rock Chalk Jayhawk. I'm channeling my Ben Foster now. He always says that when we...
Yeah.
I actually am going to pick Kansas. They were able to handle Tennessee. So I think they'll be able to handle Kentucky.
Yeah. I don't want to agree with you. I think it's going to be a very close game. But I got Kansas.
Yep. That's what I thought.
Yeah. All right. Arkansas at number 14, Texas Tech.
Exciting.
Well, Texas Tech is 14. Arkansas just beat Missouri as we were recording right now.
So, on the road or at home?
Arkansas was at home.
Dang it. Texas Tech.
I will go Texas Tech as well.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not picking the SEC in this one.
No. Number 25, LSU, goes to face Missouri. 558 tickets for as low as $10, everybody.
Now, how did these guys not have to do the Big 12 thing, man? What the heck?
Because there's only 10 Big 12 teams and there's 14
Well, they should rotate through. I mean, these guys shouldn't get a break. LSU gets basically a week off playing Missouri because they're going to beat them.
I agree. In a game that actually matters, 7:30 on the SEC Network. This got relegated to the SEC Network because of the Big 12 SEC Challenge. Number 16 Auburn goes to the hump in Starkville to play number 22 Mississippi State. Who you got?
It's extremely hard to win on the road in the SEC, so I've actually got Mississippi State on this one.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I got 2 road teams winning this on the games that matter. LSU beats Missouri, Auburn beats Mississippi State.
There you go.
All right, we got to circle back here. Going to Waco, Alabama, who normally doesn't play well on the road, goes to Baylor for a brunch game on ESPNU. Who you got and what's your score?
I'm going to go with Alabama. And the consistency they showed, I think they're going to replicate it. They're going to need every bit of it to beat Baylor, though, I think. I've got Alabama 82-78.
Wow. Bama big.
Yeah.
All right.
They're going to need it.
I got Bama as well. I'm going to go 65-64. 65-64.
Okie dokie.
Last second shot.
I like it.
All right.
Dramatic.
So we've got to pick the midweek games because we won't record before these games play probably. On Tuesday on SEC Network at 5:30, the number 1 team in the land goes to South Carolina. Who you got?
Tennessee.
Yep, Tennessee.
Yeah, I mean...
You can't pick against them. In the game that really who cares, 6 o'clock on ESPNU, Georgia goes to Arkansas. 791 tickets for as low as $9. Who you got?
Arkansas, because they're the home team, and for that reason only, to be honest.
I will take Arkansas as well. We'll pick the next game in a minute. Number 8, Kentucky, goes to Memorial Gymnasium. It's not even televised or on Watch ESPN.
That's sad.
Are you going to pick the road team, Adam?
Yes, I am.
Because I am as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Number 22, who probably won't be ranked after this week because I really predict that Auburn will beat Mississippi State. But Mississippi State comes to Coleman Coliseum. I need a score prediction. Let's go.
Don't forget to mention that there are 455 tickets as low as $2 for this game.
Well,
obviously showing that Alabama is a football-only school.
We're a false.
This is a big game. Can I make no?
No, I know you want to do it.
No. I think I'm going to go with the same thing I said about Baylor. I think we're putting the pieces together. I think we'll put it again here. This will be the last chance to really make sure we're firing on all cylinders before we head over to Auburn. I think we'll get this one. I think this one will be 73-70.
Okay. I myself am going to pick Alabama just because I think that Alabama's firing on all cylinders, like you said. I think that Mississippi State is not. I think they are going on that downward trajectory because they lost to Ole Miss. They've lost some games they should have won. I'm going to go Alabama decently big here. I'm going to say 74-60.
So, yeah. Okay.
All right. And now we got yeah. So now we got to pick Wednesday. There's 3 more games.
Okay.
Number 20 Ole Miss, who won't be number 20, goes to Florida. Who you got?
Yeah, I think this is where Ole Miss starts to possibly rebound. I can see Ole Miss taking that one, even though it's on the road.
I've got Ole Miss winning that one as well. Missouri goes to Auburn Arena.
Auburn.
Yeah, Auburn.
Yeah, they're just clearly the better team.
I can't pick the away team there. Last one, LSU at Texas A&M.
LSU.
So LSU, that makes the road team.
Yep.
2-1. I'll take it. I will take it. Those are our picks.
You'll take it. You'll stake it.
Yep. Adam and I have decided that we are not going to do a sideline warning this week because in honor of our friend Ben not being here, we are going to say this. Listen to the sideline report because Ben has said that he is going to come in and give his thoughts on this Baylor game. So listen to the sideline report for Ben.
It's going to be good.
It's going to be good. And then I will say next week, listen to my sideline report when I will cover NXT TakeOver Phoenix and the Royal Rumble of the WWE.
It's going to be good in air quotes.
I'm bringing wrestling in, folks. You watch this be the most listened to episode of Sideline Warning, Adam.
Oh my gosh. If you pull all your buddies off face together and you make this the one that gets up into high triple digits, man.
It will blow up.
Oh my gosh. I can't imagine what that means for the future of our podcast.
Blow up. All right. So if you want to ask Adam to do more sports talk, more wrestling talk. If you want to...
Or more sports talk after Dave completely stumped me on the pitcher question.
If you want to tell Adam how right I was in our baseball conversation, or if you want to combat me and Adam on how we thought about the Indy and the Tennessee game, how do they get a hold of the show there, Adam?
931-44-BLITZ. Call the number. You'll hear a really quick message, and then it'll connect over to our voicemail. Just leave a voicemail. We'll play it on the show. Give your take, give our thoughts, answer your question, whatever it is you got to share. Feel free to call in and share it. Don't forget to dial in with those themed costume ideas for the princess. 931-44-BLITZ.
There you go, 931-44-BLITZ. Also, connect with us on the show through Instagram and Twitter. We're the same handle, at SW The Show. On Twitter, I am at DAdams419. The ghost host this week is at the Ben Foster. Did you like that?
Nice.
Did you like that?
Yeah.
He is at Run Tide Run. You can also find us on Facebook. We are facebook.com/SW The Show. Also join our Facebook fan group, Sideline Warning fan group, something like that. But I say it every week. I truly mean it. We love you. We will talk to y'all next week. And roll Tide. All right. That one's out of our system.
Hey, make a weird noise because I'll be listening for that.
Ooh.
I'll see it spike. There you go. Thank you for the outtake. All right.
All right. In 3, 2, 1.